All right, so on this one, they're kind of showing us something that becomes important to create an application later. But part 3 says, when flip-flops were discussed briefly back in Unit 1, we saw that a D flip-flop could be used to create a divide by 2 circuit. Remember, a divide by 2 circuit is one that generates a clock output that is half the frequency of the clock input. What they mean by the clock output is simply the output of the flip-flop is going to be used as the clock signal in a subsequent or a second flip-flop. So instead of having an actual clock signal, this output will go and connect to the clock pin of another flip-flop. Okay? Says, likewise, a divide by 2 circuit can be implemented with a JK flip-flop. See below. So if we look at this flip-flop here and notice some things, the clock has the little inverter on it, right? So we can say the clock is negative edge triggered. Is that okay? So we're just noticing things. That's because I see a little circle there. Okay. Preset and clear have the circles. So PR and CLR. They are active low. Something else about them is they have already been tied to 5 volts permanently. They're simply just connected to 5 volts. So they're tied high, which means they're basically disabled. So we don't have to think about them worrying about them overriding our JK. Is that okay? The next thing is J is tied high, which is 1. So J is equal to 1. And K is tied to that 5 volts. So K is equal to 1. So when we have the 1-1 combination, that is the toggle combination. So basically we've created something that is going to toggle on every negative or falling edge. Every time. J and K are always going to be 1-1. So the command to the output is always to toggle, to switch. So the timing chart below looks like this. If the clock starts out low, right, and now it's a falling edge, we're looking for all the falling edges. Every falling edge, the flip-flop, the output is going to toggle. Toggle means to change value. So when you're 0, go 1. When your 1 becomes 0. And that's it. In math classes, have you guys ever studied sine waves? The length of a wave, right? It's really doesn't even have to be peak to peak, but as long as it's the same, kind of the same point in the pattern, you can kind of measure the wavelength, right? From high to high or from low to low. So, think about the number of waves that I have here. Maybe kind of the low-high cycle right here, right? There's one complete cycle there. There's a second complete cycle on this clock in. There's a third. There's a fourth, etc., right? Up above, starting low, going high, right? High, low, starting low to go high. That would be the end of one oscillation or one wave. It's twice the length here, right? This one is twice as long as that. It takes 2 of these in time to make one of those. So that's the important relationship that we've created when they talk about having this divide by 2 circuit. The clock signal is half the speed of this one. So the speed got halved. Which then kind of the speed getting halved is the wavelength getting longer, right? It takes more time. All right? Does that make sense? That's going to be a useful thing for us later. Now, the next thing, so maybe we don't have time to really do much other than if you could just be prepped for tomorrow. I've given you a multi-sim file you can go download, and it's got this, and if you go to the next page, it's got the other thing. So it's got 2 little circuits already in there for you. Okay? And you just have to go to your Google Classroom page. All right, go to this Activity 311 multi-sim file. And then you'll see that I've got the multi-sim file here. Click on it again, it'll download it. I guess you got to click a bunch of times. Click again. It'll download it for you. I'll hit that little up arrow to say Show in Folder. I'm guessing it's going to default to your Downloads folder, but from there you might cut and paste and manage where you organize your stuff instead of just leaving it there. You can try opening it today quick and make sure it's there and looks good. But you got 3 minutes, so maybe if you can, no, now only 2. But that'd be great if we can open that and start there tomorrow. Would be great.